Hey folks, welcome back to part 4 of my Clockwork Empires version 37c playthrough. Again, we're just picking this one up where we left off last episode. So we've got the colony underway. We are building. The workshop currently under construction is the metalworks. I've put down the materials, or I've put down the blueprint. The materials are being delivered. But I haven't assigned any modules to it because they're all made of quite expensive metal parts. So I'm going to decide which modules I need and just build them on a need basis. Again, those of you who are paying close attention to the end of last episode and comparing to this one will notice that the metalworks is a different shape. And that's because the save file that I made at the end of last episode crashed a bunch. Basically, I couldn't load it, so I had to load up an earlier save. So now I'm rebuilding the metalworks. Again, Clockwork Empires is not finished, so there are a bunch of bugs. And some of the more disruptive ones are the ones that eat your save files, unfortunately. That's kind of the nature of early access, though, right? If you want to see the game being developed, now's a great time to get in on it. If you want a finished product, now is not so great a time. You have to know what you're getting into with early access, right? You have to temper your expectations. Enough about early access. What's going on here? Oh, I see. This man is starving to death because he is... Actually, I believe he's been trying to path into this wall for several days now. I actually think... I'm gonna have to kill him. Cruel as it seems, if he was stuck in a module, I would just move the module. Unfortunately, he seems to be stuck walking into a wall. Well, we'll use the rarely used Frontier Justice, which marks a colonist for execution. Did I successfully? Oh, there we go. Marks a colonist for execution by the fine soldiers of the Empire. Marked for justice. Well, that's a little bit weird. I suppose worst comes to worst, he will just starve to death. My main concern here is that he's an artisan, which means his job is flee far away. So clearly the Colonist AI recognizes that he's been marked for execution. Huh. Anyway, I was saying my main concern is that he's an artisan, which means he's in charge of a work crew, which means when he dies, his workers will not be in a work crew, but also the jobs they would be performing in a workshop will be abandoned. But also there's a chance that because he's idle like this, he's actually preventing his work crew from doing anything. Well, fortunately they're not. I'm going to reassign everybody in his work crew just to be on the safe side. Actually, at this point now I really need more artisans. Yeah, that is to save more crews. Alright, Mr. Steellock, I'm just going to disable everything. There we go. Yeah, again, early access, buggy. I guess depending on your point of view when you enter into this game, like people like me who've been following this game since like last year or before it hit early access on Steam in the phase Gaslamp called earliest access, You know, I imagine many of us are quite happy. Like a whole bunch of stuff, like a whole bunch of module changes, UI, optimization, AI, all of that stuff is much better than, oh god, this guy's stuck in an oven. All that stuff's much better than it used to be. But if you're looking from the perspective of someone who wants a completed game to play right now, I would imagine the game is not satisfactory, right? It's still got a ways to go, which is something the developers freely acknowledge in their own dev blogs and stuff. And when they talk about like things that need to be worked on and their objectives, dev roadmap. And excuse me a moment, I'm going to see if I can get this guy out from... He's stuck in the ceramics workshop. I'm going to pause the game for a sec. Actually, I'll leave it running. I can click on the module blueprint and actually move it. Let's move it here. I wonder if that worked. So the module mode acknowledges that the blueprint has been moved, and the guy who was stuck in the blueprint, stuck in the oven, was able to resume his pathing. But the module, the brick ceramics kiln, still appears to be in its old location. Well, I guess we'll see. How are we doing for food? Well, I saw a chili harvest come in while I was talking about modules and early access and stuff, and all those chilies are instantly eaten by everyone. I guess another issue is that, well, another game flow issue is that currently colonists eat once a day, and then their happiness is determined by what they're able to eat. Basically, they will be happier as a result of eating cooked foods. But well, the issue here is that by eating, so I've got 36 colonists, right? If every one of them tries to eat once a day, that means every single day I must be producing 36 whatever. Hold that thought. Bandit raid. 5 bandits are incoming. I'm sure we can fight them off. Let's see. Yeah, six soldiers. Yeah, that's fine. Anyway, food production is kind of difficult. Farming does not produce 1 unit of food every day, right? Each of these crops takes several days to grow. So you need lots and lots of farms to produce enough food to feed each of your colonists once a day. Like you'll need, I don't know, I haven't worked out the math. I would estimate at least 2 plants to feed 1 colonist once a day. And so the issue here is, of course, you're going to need a ton of farms, which means you'll need a ton of farmers, or you'll have to be very aggressive about foraging. So it's kind of difficult to stay on top of keeping everyone fed all the time. I'm having trouble finding coconut. Here we go. Of course, if you do focus everything on food production, then you have fewer workers available to... I mean, your workers won't starve if they can't produce enough planks, for instance, but it will severely hamper the speed of the development of your colony. Which, I don't know, that might not, it's not an inherently bad thing, but it's something you will definitely need to consider. I'm just going to queue up 10 more planks. So what do we have for... we don't actually have that many jobs queued up. Farming jobs, foraging jobs, which I just drew up, and the plank job, which I also just drew up. Could be worse. Again, one thing I like to come back to is keep your jobs list short. So there's a minimum of what I call job interference. Colonists who are not in work crews that are not assigned to workshops will still do jobs, even if for whatever reason their workshop isn't doing its job. because there are spontaneous jobs. Let me get back to you on that. I would take extra criminals. Actually, I'll take another artisan. Yes. So there are spontaneous jobs, like farming and hauling and burial jobs. Those are jobs you do not assign directly. Those are jobs that pop up spontaneously, which is to say they pop up on their own without direct input from me, because they just need to be done. Let me get back to manage the workroom menu. All right. Probably don't need quite so many people making planks. I think I'll leave the farming squad alone though. We need as many farmers as possible. There we go. How are we doing for bricks? Got 9 bricks. Let's queue up, say, 5 more. And then I'm going to... Time to start making the modules in the metalworks. So, as I mentioned last episode, maybe you missed it, what used to be 3 separate buildings, the arsenal, the metalworks, and the refinery, have all been combined into one omni building, which is still called the metalworks. And it combines all of the ore refining and metalworking modules basically under one roof. So you don't need to build 3 buildings to do it, which is which I am quite happy with. Having 3 buildings means you need 3 work crews, and you have to balance resources between them, etc., etc. It basically reduces the per workshop overhead, which means you can have more guys available to do more tasks. What's the first thing I'll need? Some way to refine raw ores or smelt them. So my options here are the iron smelting crucible or the stone smelting crucible. Now this one will smelt ores faster, and if it costs the same, then of course I would build the this one that uses brick, pipes, and iron sheets. Let's see, it needs 3 sheets and 2 pipes. I've got 3 pipes and 4 sheets and enough brick. Okay. So I'm going to build the iron smelting crucible. Let's say here. I'm also going to need a source of fuel. So I've got, again, I can build the cheapy stone charcoal kiln entirely out of rock, or either one of these two will also make charcoal. That's the brick charcoal kiln and the iron charcoal kiln. I can actually afford the brick charcoal kiln, so I'm going to build that as well. Then we're just going to let them get on with it and build it for now. But I had to pay close attention to my commodities, because I don't want to queue up a building for which I don't have the materials in stock. Right? Like the reason I didn't queue up the iron charcoal kiln is because I know I definitely did not have enough metal pipes after building the crucible as well, because the crucible itself also consumes some of my iron parts. And so yes, I could queue it up and it would just remain there indefinitely until I got the part, but that might be a long time. Oh, someone's had bad dreams. Roster Golden Lock. Dream about lights in the forest. Oh, you have fun with those, Roster. Oh, that was interesting. So the man who had been starving to death because he was stuck in a wall for several days has starved to death. The game thinks he's escaped justice by dying due to escape justice by dying. And what that means is the game considers him to have escaped justice because he died, but not by frontier justice. Which is essentially true. He was not shot to death, I guess. I wonder how that affects... I wonder if that creates memories for any of... I see we've had a fair number of just random invading fishmen, so I'm going to do another fishman corpse sweep. And chop them up for their meat. There is something extremely funky going on with this door. Everyone who walks through this door flashes like a strobe light. I wonder what's going on with that, what was this, a clear terrain beacon? I guess it was. Huh. Well, it did not create a job that appears in the jobs menu. Oh well, I'll just cancel it. Not able to cancel. Well, it might be something left over from my previous save then. Again, early access, not done. I see the starvation icon is still hovering over the place where his corpse used to be as well, which is kind of weird. Which one was these? Okay, this is the crucible, so that's the kiln. So I can actually produce fuel here. Let's get a squad assigned here, and then I'm going to say make 10 charcoal. I have nothing to use the charcoal in right now, because I haven't built the kiln, for instance, or the crucible. But it's good to have some in stock, a little bit ahead of time. Oh, coconuts. Uh-oh. Lady is running for her life. Well, she did find a profitable coconut grove. I'm a little bit concerned that we've actually run out of clay. I can see I've got at least 6 bricks still in the storehouse, which is fine. But I won't be able to produce any more bricks until I find more clay. I need more workers, but I've got a severe food shortage as it is. Well, I'm going to take the 3 workers anyway, and maybe we can get by. Actually, I think what I'm going to have to do is assign a greater percentage of... basically make more farms. I need more, a larger proportion of my colonists to be farmers. Or foragers, whatever. I need them in food production. These iridescent beetles, by the way, can be harvested for their food, or for their meat, which is what I'm doing right now. And what is this? Another job? I didn't clean itself properly. I seriously need as many farms as I can cram onto the property. Sorry, onto the land. Keep it simple for now, just make it all corn. Okay, so we've got the crucible and the metalwork, the crucible and the kiln up and running. I have the ability to smelt ores and also to make charcoal fuel for my crucible. Did you just have an Elder's Vision, Eugenia Larchgate? Heh. I know I haven't given a lot of time to the personality system, which I think is one of the core systems of this game. And I don't think a monthly revision playthrough is the best way to spotlight it, but it's certainly something that deserves attention. Every colonist will have memories, right? And these are their, I believe, their 7 most recent memories, each of which has a handy little icon, and mousing over it describes the circumstances of that icon. Every colonist also has traits, dominating personality traits, and they've also got skills. So everybody starts off terrible at every category of skills, and then they get better at them as they do them more and more. We're looking here at a soldier who doesn't do any workshop jobs, so she won't get any better at these categories. But like the guys who've been working in my carpentry for, since the colony was founded, should be pretty good at carpentry, for instance. So the skill goes from terrible to not terrible to like adequate or something like that. And basically every single line in this description actually reflects an in-game mechanic. They place a greater emphasis, or they have a greater affinity for doing things based on their personality traits. So if a soldier is fearful, he or she will be more likely to run away from a fight after taking a small amount of damage. If they are cultists, they will remain happy despite adverse conditions. If they're gourmand, I assume that means they enjoy food. I assume that means eating cooked food makes them happier. That sort of thing. Someone is starving. Well, I can see several people are starving. That's unfortunate. I'm trying to alleviate that situation. We can see here the damage icon over this cot. Huh. Is this man also stuck in a module? Herschel Goldenson. Let's see if I can fix that. There we go. That was not elegant. Good enough. So I've got no ores. 4 fishermen incoming. Yeah, we can handle that. What happened to that bandit wave that was coming in earlier? They might have been very far away. Enola Cord has also had a similarly ominous dream. Huh. Now, I'm not doing anything to manage the mental well-being of my colony. So my colony is... Honestly, my colony is still struggling to sustain itself. Mainly, it's constantly skating the brink of starvation. So I really can't afford to be shooting people left and right, unfortunately. Well, I say unfortunately. I can't afford to be shooting people left and right. I do believe I need another stockpile, though. Let's just put a big one out here. Another little bug, this stockpile, for which I've disabled all filters, is not being used for any purpose at all. Stockpiles are something that are actually under... The devs are working on them right now, actually. Basically, stockpile priorities, the order in which colonists will place things in stockpiles, all that stuff is currently under review. Because it's not working the way it should. Or it's mostly working the way it should, but there's still some issues, as we can see. Right. The next thing I suspect we need is a source of ores. We need a source of clay, and we can actually, since we can process metals now, we can definitely use some ores, which are poor in the jungle, and then we've been unlucky in that there are none at all in the vicinity. So I feel the next thing I need to build is a mine. So where to put the mine? Let's put it back here. Seems as good a spot as any. Of course, the crucial module for a mine, aside from a door, of course, is the mine shaft, which requires 3 planks and 1 iron sheet. Oh dear. I used up exactly all of our iron sheets building the metalsmith. Oh good, just in time. So hopefully, I'm going to take the building materials option, and hopefully they drop me a metal sheet. Oh good, iron. Okay, that's actually very lucky. So otherwise, I would have had waited. Basically, I would have had to wait for another drop to get an iron plate at random. But since we've just received an iron plate, construction can start on this mine shaft immediately. So with that done, this is running a little bit long. I'm going to cut this one off here. Thanks very much for sticking through this playthrough with me and this slightly buggy session. Again, this was Clockwork Empires Revision 37B. My name is Alfred. Game's in early access. It's available on Steam, being developed by Gaslamp Games. Have a good one.